Sing cuckoo, loo, sing cuckoo.
Hello,
Sing
welcome to the award-winning Priory Paddock.
Summer is a coming, Lord, sing cuckoo. Groweth said and bloweth made, and springeth wood anew. Sing cuckoo, you have bitten after lamb, not after cockapoo.
That's the sound of a big, fat, ginger-haired bumblebee, which I have just met as I came into the paddock, and it's buzzing around in the bright blue flowers, the big alkanet flowers along by the wall here at the bottom of the paddock. The alkanet are putting on a good display at the moment. They look like overgrown forget-me-nots, but they're very, very popular with the bumblebees. I can see that big and at least two other smaller ones as I'm standing here right by the gate. One of the reasons that the paddock got its RHS Gold Award last year was the success that we have had in providing shelter and sustenance for all sorts, but especially pollinating insects, bees, butterflies and hoverflies, things like that. And the big ginger bumblebee that I can still see beside me here is a good example. There are, I believe, 22 varieties of bumblebee in Britain, but there are only about 7 which are relatively widely distributed, and of those 7 we have recorded 5 here in the paddock, and there are 3 that you might well see if you had a look as you look around the paddock this month. The big ginger one, which is still buzzing around beside me, is clearly one of them. That, I believe, is called a carder bumblebee. The queen collects wool from bramble bushes and bits of barbed wire, the kind of things that sheep brush against, and leave small tufts of wool. And I understand that this particular bumblebee collects bits of wool like that and straightens them out and uses them to line her nest. Of the other sorts, there is one with very, very, very clearly coloured with a bright white tail. It's a big fat bumblebee. The queen's a big fat, the classic kind of bumblebee, with 2 yellow stripes and a white tail, very clean white tail. That's the white-tailed bumblebee. And then there's another one which looks like the white-tailed one after it's done a cross-country run, because it looks like a grubby white-tailed bumblebee, and that's the buff-tailed bumblebee. Its 2 yellow stripes are rather more gingerish than yellow, and where the white tail has a very clean white tail, the buff tail has a distinctly dingy-looking buff tail, obviously. And so those 3, the ginger, the white-tailed and the buff-tailed, are 3 that you might well be able to see as you look around the paddock this month. So we take as he bumbles off. Easter has been late this year, and so has spring. But we're approaching May Day now, and appropriately enough, the May is beginning to show signs of blossoming, and the rest of the paddock has gone into overdrive. Everything has shot up in the last week or so, and walking along by the side of the wall here, passing the bright blue alkanet flowers, I can see the slightly dowdy looking pale green vegetation of the great celandine, and rather perfunctory looking 4-petalled flowers, pale yellow flowers on the greater celandine. The lesser celandine, of course, is a spring flower of the more wooded areas, and whilst we had a huge display of that up until a week or so ago, that is now beginning to go over as the trees begin to open their leaves, and the foliage on the trees has opened in every direction. As I look around, I can see fresh leaves just about everywhere, and at this time of the year each variety of tree has a slightly different shade of green, so I think we could probably outdo the Emerald Isle here at the moment. Walking along up the drive along the side here in the paddock, it's quite clear that the dandelions are in full bloom, not surprising, and so are the ribwort plantain. The ribwort plantain is a very curious looking plant. It has long, narrow leaves, ribbed leaves, and its flower is on the end of a tall stalk. It looks like a bit like a spaceship, a 1950s picture of a long stalk. It has a kind of dark brown, almost black core, and tiny white flowers sticking out on little stalks all the way round it. When I was a boy on my way to school, my friends and I used to pick these things, break the stalk off close to the ground, bend the stalk over in a loop, and then shoot the heads at each other. We were very deprived. We didn't have any tablets to play Roblox on in those days. Coming further up the drive, we've got primroses along the bank in front of the pond, and the pond at the moment is showing a very, very, very good display of marsh marigolds, bright yellow 5-petaled flowers with big glossy leaves, very much like a buttercup. In fact, the other alternative name for the marsh marigold is kingcup, and they are definitely kingcups at the moment. And that's a wren I can hear singing in the background. No, to stop. If I was too close to where he was sitting, he would be scolding me viciously by now. Beside the pond is also our largest hawthorn bush, and the May blossom is just beginning to open. The sun is shining brightly today. The weather is definitely much warmer than it has been, and the May is just beginning to open. There is great dispute over the old country saying, "Cast ne'er a clout till the May be out." Now, some people say it should be "Cast ne'er a clout until May be out." They're very pessimistic. They mean the month of May. We always said till the May is out, working on the principle that the tree can sense the weather better than I can, and so if I take my cue from the tree, if the May blossom is out, then it's time to come out without a coat. I am going to cast my clout. Coming on a bit further, we have a lot of white comfrey, which is very, very popular with the bumblebees. It has bell-shaped, rather tubular flowers, and again I can see a bumblebee. What sort's this? I think this is one of the buff-tailed ones. Yes, that was one of the buff-tailed ones. The one that looks as though it's just done a cross-country run. And next to the white comfrey here, the red valerian are just beginning to open. That's got very, very glossy, almost cactus-looking like succulent, and bright pink flowers in heads that always remind me of a strawberry ice cream. Here comes an orange-tipped butterfly. The food plant for the caterpillars of the orange-tipped butterfly is Jack by the Hedge, or garlic mustard. It's a tall mustard. It's a tall plant with heart-shaped pale green leaves and tiny little white four-petalled flowers, and the ones we've got here at the moment are mainly in amongst the trees, and this is the plant for the caterpillars of the orange-tip butterfly. It's only the male orange tip that has the orange tips to the wings. The female is a very neat small white butterfly with black lines. There's some red campion flowers opening up here as well, I can see. And looking out under the trees, there's lots and lots of bluebells at the moment. The arum lilies, there were lots of wild arum, the native English arum lily. There are still one or two, but most have now gone over. The bird cherry trees have got lots of blossom on them. Yes, have a quick look at this. They're in spikes of white, five-petalled white flowers, and the biggest display of blossom at the moment. Oh, there's the blackbird singing. The biggest display of tree blossom at the moment is on the crabapple, and the crabapples. That's the blackbird singing. There are 3 crabapples towards the top, beautifully scented, 5-petalled white flowers, and at the moment they are smothered in blossom. What else can I see? In the central section, between the 2 paths at the top of the paddock, is the bed full of codlins and cream, or great willow herb, and this will be 6-7 feet high by the end of the summer. It was cut down almost ground level in March and cleared away, and the fresh shoots are coming up. A month ago they were just, and there are some of them here now which are at least 2 feet tall. Well, that's what there is to see in the paddock at the moment. If you come back in another month's time, I'm sure the codlins and cream will have put on at least another 2 feet, and it will be interesting to see what else has come into bloom in that time. Cheerio!